Are you here? Yes, you're right where we want you. Welcome to the Paul Leslie Hour, featuring an interview with singer-songwriter, recording artist, and recurring guest, John Goodwin. We're also going to be presenting lyric videos from John's album, Van Gogh in Hollywood. Oh, this is going to be really interesting. Real quick, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and give us a thumbs up. If you have a comment, say it. And with that, I think it's time to start the episode.
It's good to see you.
It's way good to see you too. Yes.
So we're going to be doing something pretty interesting, I think. This is almost like going back to the days of MTV VJs. Well, these are really interesting. Before we get to the first cut,
Sure.
Where did this idea of the lyric videos originate?
Well, basically, I've done 7 or 8 albums here. Worked, some of them are full production, some of them are garage band, and some of them are even more minimalistic than that. But all my albums, because I write all styles of music, every album I recorded had like all styles. It had heavy metal, rock, pop, blues, folk, and comedy and all that stuff. So at some point I realized a couple of years ago that I'd never done an album that had just one musical consistent theme to it. So I decided to take all the rock songs from my albums and put them on a playlist on Apple Music and just see what it sounded like. And it sounded like an album. I mean, of course, I had like 17 songs and I had to cut it back. So having put those together, I really was digging just hearing one rock song after the next. And after the album was done, I started thinking that, so many people like my lyrics, and a lot of people do lyric videos, which I'd never done. So I asked a couple friends of mine if they would each do one lyric video for me. And they both agreed. And I said, keep it simple, just black letters on a white background. It doesn't have to be fancy. I just want people to see the words as I'm singing the song. And both of these guys, for free, came up with very colorful lyric videos, and it knocked me out. And I sort of immediately knew that I wanted to see the whole album done that way. So they continued to make the lyric videos for me until every song on the album had a lyric video.
And so we're going to get right into it. And for starters, we're going to Mars.
Yes, we are. You interested in where that song came from?
Yeah, I have to admit, I wonder.
Well, when George W. was president, he came out one day to give a speech, and he said, "We're going to Mars. It's the gateway to the stars." And I held my head in my hand. I was thinking, can we please feed the hungry children in America before we shoot hundreds of millions of dollars into space, to get a few pictures? So anyway, that sort of dark feeling turned into a happy song.
We'll fill our buckets with bright red dirt.
Yeah, it's sort of the song of the lemmings. We're going to Mars, everyone. Come on. Okay, fine. I haven't been there yet, but yeah, anyway.
Here we go.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to Mars, 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 Mars. Going to Mars, 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 Mars.
We'll pack up the bags, pack up the family, say goodbye to Bob and Emily, visit the gateway to the stars. We're going to Mars.
Mars, 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 Mars.
I'm gonna bring a heavy shirt, 'cause it's farther from the sun than Earth. We'll fill our buckets with bright red dirt. We're going to Mars.
Mars, 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 Mars.
It'll only cost 11 trillion. We could have fed the starving children. Exploring space is far more thrilling. So we're going to Mars.
Mars, 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 Mars.
We're looking for water, looking for ice, looking for signs of intelligent life, just like the kind that we left behind. We're going to Mars.
Mars, 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 going to Mars.
T-10 and counting. We have ignition. We have liftoff. Oh my God, I think I forgot to turn off the oven before we left the house. Where are we going?
We're going to Mars.
Sometimes people will have this thing where they say, and then he went into politics. But I think just about everybody at one point or another gets into sexual politics. Tell us about this song.
Yeah, sexual politics. It seems like there are, in my life as a songwriter and as a human being, I've noticed that there are like unwritten rules by which men and women come together and fulfill certain expectations on each other's parts, which are social expectations, kind of. As a result of that, a lot of times they give up their own identity as people in order to belong, to change from an I into a we. And ultimately, I think it's very sad that, half of the marriages end in divorce, but I think possibly one of the reasons is that people compromise and give up too much of themselves, whereas it would be really cool if people could just like be themselves and be acceptable to other people without having to satisfy any superficial social demands.
All right, let's hear it. Let's see it.
Misinformed, said the teacher in a long black dress. From the second that they were born, misunderestimated and misled. Who could have done such a wicked thing to corrupt the sense of what is real? Wait a minute, who's that walking behind it? Footsteps turning the factory wheel. Where the sheep go, the rams will follow. River gonna lay in the curves of the bed. Water gonna be where the jug is hollow. Everything moving full speed ahead. Maybe it was all arranged to keep the rebels standing in line. No one I know wants to be any less than what they have on their mind. Something tells me they've been told to expect a man who does not know. What they'll leave you standing in the cold. If you're hip to something better, not let it show. Where the sheep go, the rams will follow. River gonna lay in the curves of the bed. Water gonna be where the jug is hollow. Everything moving full speed ahead. You play it day after day is kind of your reality. Where the sheep go, the rams will follow. The river gonna lay in the curves of the bed. The water gonna be where the jug is hollow. Everything moving full speed ahead now.
There's a song of yours, I've always liked it since the beginning of hearing it for the first time, but it's a little bit of a mysterious song, and I'm not really sure exactly what the inspiration was. Can you tell us about On the Borderline?
Sure. I wrote it about somebody else, but at some point it started to apply to me as well. I knew this guy, songwriter in Nashville, and I've written with hundreds and hundreds of songwriters, and there was something about him. He was very, very cool as a human being, but in some ways he was not quite cool. And he was really brilliant, but in some ways he was not quite brilliant. He was sort of like half this and half that, which I really appreciated, because I don't see the half that's empty, which is, I mean, that's probably a condescending thing to say, but I see the half that's full. And he was just to me, like a bunch of dichotomies who I just enjoyed as a whole human being. So that's how it started. I just started, doing my verbal hallucinations, like he's half crazy, he's half sane, 1 foot in dreams, 1 foot in Spain. And I just started going there. So that's how the song started.
All right. Well, let's play it for everybody.
Crazy, he's half sane, 1 foot in dreams, 1 foot in Spain. He's black and white in equal parts. He drives to work in his head, he goes home to his heart. He's half lost, he's half profound. If he was any more up, he would knock me down. He's got dual citizenship in the land of the obtuse and the nation of the hip. And if you look real close, you'll find he's on the borderline. He's half man, he's half beast. He's a walking contradiction, to say the least. He's lemon bitter, he's sugar sweet. He eats a healthy candy bar and throws a wrapper on the street. He's half this, he's half that. He's got 26 heads and 52 hats. Man's a dog, man's a cat. But when he chases himself silly, the mouse just laughs. When the water turns to wine, he's on the borderline. borderline. He's on the borderline. On the borderline.
I can recall this particular cut, hearing the demo before the studio recording came out. It's really, really wild. I remember being taken right away by all the chanting. And it's pretty hard to argue with the premise of this song, Working for the Man.
Yes. Well, as a guy who writes all kinds of songs, and I write country songs too. I mean, I've had some really well-known country artists record songs I wrote. But on this particular song, it's different than what a lot of people in Nashville do. I was thinking about Jesus on the cross, and I was thinking that, you know, it was really sad that nobody protested that act at that time. Of course, you know, there were, soldiers with their weapons and stuff. Like most people, the citizens didn't have those kind of weapons at their disposal. But it's really sad to me that 400 or 500 people didn't show up and say, no, you cannot murder this innocent man. So the more I thought about it, the more I thought, well, at the time he died, everybody was kind of doing what they were supposed to do. I mean, some people were cooking dinner, some people were taking a walk, etc. And in a sense, the idea was everybody's working for the man. Like whatever we're doing because it's expected of us. So this is maybe the only protest song written about the crucifixion of Christ.
Oh, interesting. All right. Well, we'll let everybody see exactly what we're talking about. Everybody's working for the man.
The day the Lord was hanging in the wind, most of the people stayed away. They had a lot of other things to do, besides it was a business day. I was just drifting like I always am when I wandered to the foot of the cross. Looked up and said, sweet Jesus in the sky, what can you see? What's really going on? He said, everybody's working for the man. Don't even know it, but they're working for the man. Gotta get so high above it to see the real plan. But everybody's working for the man. Yeah. Every time that you make $1, the man makes $1 million. You make a living, the man makes a killing. We got bandits in castles, rebels on crosses high. Treason is rewarded with political promotions, reporters to hide it, padres to bless it. The man picks the posse so he never gets arrested. But the next time there's a conflict on a distant shore, check out who turns the profits and who fights the war. 'Cause everybody's working for the man. Don't even know it, but they're working for the man. Gotta get so high above it to see the real plan. But everybody's working for the man. For the man. don't even know it, but they're working for the man. Gotta get so high above it to see the real plan. But everybody's working for the man, yeah.
Something that I've noticed with a lot of your songs is recurring themes and this idea of innocence or like you're talking about. Here was this innocent man with the last cut. Everybody's working for the man. It kind of comes back again in your song, They Killed Him.
Mm-hmm.
Great song. Tell
Thank
us a little bit about that one.
The inspiration for They Killed Him was in my lifetime, having seen so many young, idealistic people being killed in public, and we having lost the benefit of their intellects and their ideas and their desire to, in some way, bring us all together as a human family. So I just started thinking initially about John Kennedy, and I just wrote that song. I'm kind of an older person. I was actually at the LA Coliseum when John Kennedy accepted the Democratic nomination for president. So a lot of these people I felt close to, and when they were lost, I also felt their loss very personally. Such as the loss of John Lennon, who I was fortunate to spend some time with. So that's what inspired the song.
All right. Well, we're going to play the lyric video right now for everyone.
There was a man who said everyone is free. He stood in the sunlight and spoke equality. He said everyone has a right to exist. Now he's someone I'm sure gonna miss. 'Cause they killed him when they heard that his truth would tear down the walls between me and you. They killed him, cut him down like a weed, blew him off of his steed. They killed him. Well, I knew a singer whose passion grew wild, such a wise man, a rebel, mysterious child. Everyone saw themselves in his smile. Now we're not gonna see his kind for a while. 'Cause they killed him when they heard that his truth would tear down the walls between me and you. They killed him, cut him down like a weed. He was setting us free. They killed him. Then they told us a story how one crazy man stole him away from his dreams and his plans. Most of the people believed what they said. They had no reason to lie. Every time somebody good comes along and tries to defend the weak from the strong, it's the same old story from Jesus to John. Everyone suffers, something goes wrong, and they killed him, and the blood starts to run. They killed him, hold up one smoking gun. They killed him. When will freedom be won?
So the title of this collection is Van Gogh in Hollywood.
Yes.
And that's, I think you've written a lot of songs. I like pretty much everything I've heard from you. And I have to say that in the, if you have to, on one hand, pick the top five, probably Van Gogh in Hollywood is in the top five. It's just a fantastic song. Tell us about that one.
Well, thank you, man. For me, it's somewhat enigmatic, and it's a bunch of loose ends that hopefully come together enough to create some kind of a fabric, that has some kind of unifying theme. Here's the thing. I spent a lot of my life in Los Angeles, which is, known for the movie industry, the TV industry, the record industry. And then in 98, I moved to Nashville. But in those businesses, there's always been a little competition between the artists and the businessmen to see who gets the chicks. And I'm being just brutally honest here. And a lot of times, I think the businessmen exclude artists because they're afraid that they wouldn't be able to compete with them socially. So I think the art of music, for instance, has suffered as a result of business people trying to make themselves so important by doing business at the expense of creating or allowing art to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, it's kind of complex, but so the song Van Gogh was inspired by the idea of like what happens when pure art goes to a place like Los Angeles and Nashville and confronts pure commerce that has no real interest in anything that says anything other than what's expected of songwriters to write for the market. So, and also I feel a little bit, because I was such an idealist as a songwriter, feel a little bit like part of the old, tortured poets department in terms of not getting recognition because I never compromised. So that's a little bit of where Van Gogh came from. It's kind of like trying to explain it is like dipping a cup into a big bowl of like beef stew. You get the carrots and the beef and all this other stuff in it. It isn't just one thing.
All right. Well, we're going to play it for everybody, and there are some incredible lyrics in Van Gogh in Hollywood. So everybody take a close listen and also pay attention to the words. Here is Van Gogh in Hollywood by John Goodwin.
Executives are getting blown by sweet young things. Spiritual vampires living like kings. Maniac elves making gold out of crap as fresh bait is laid on the trigger of the trap. Powerful agents working the phones. Powerful agents with balls of stone. They're kicking ass because they could. The day that Vincent Van Gogh came to Hollywood. What's in, what's out, what's up, what's not? Excess in a land that soul forgot. For every name in a star on that dirty boulevard, 10,000 others got shot through the heart. The eyes of the Dutchman took it all in as the perfume of money hid the smell of sin. Miss September gave it up to Robin Hood the day that Vincent Van Gogh came to Hollywood. camera, baby, show us more breast. They make it commercial with a mindless spin, and they cry like kittens when conservatives win. People who run it keep an iron grip on that reincarnation of Billy Budd's ship. But the locks was fresh and business was good the day Vincent Van Gogh came to Hollywood.
We've played all the tracks for this episode. I hope everyone out there has enjoyed listening and also really, really looking at the lyrics of these great songs. It's been a great pleasure to talk to you, John. But what's on the horizon? What are you working on at the moment?
Well, and before I tell you that, I want to thank you so much for having me as your guest. You've been very supportive of my music for a long time, and I'm really glad that I have something new to share with you in the form of these lyric videos. What's next is, having created the Van Gogh in Hollywood album, which also includes, I think, 5 songs that you didn't have time to play in this episode. I realized that a lot of that album was, kind of political, edgy, and I actually, having finished that, I decided that I wanted to make an album of songs that were just about pure love, no politics. So I collected a bunch of songs like that. 5 of them I recorded in a Nashville recording studio with 5 of the greatest studio players in Nashville. I love them. We're adding 3 songs from previous albums to that set. And there's nothing political about these songs. And I love that because that's who I really am. And in some ways, singing political songs is a way of defending yourself and keeping your walls up. Oh, but when you take down the walls and you're willing to be completely vulnerable and just speak from one heart to another heart, I mean, this is it's a breakthrough for me, and it's who I always wanted to be. We should have that album done in the next 2 or 3 months.
Well, I'm definitely looking forward to the full album coming out.
I am looking forward to you hearing it too, because this is all I want to be, is kind of the love poet. I'm too old to march in protest rallies. Also, thank you so much, Paul, for giving me your time and attention and allowing other people to see what I do as a result of your interest in my music.
It's my pleasure. My pleasure, John.
Cool. Shall we say goodbye?
Yeah, let's say farewell for now.
I like that. It sounds more official when you say goodbye. It's like, you ever talk to people on the phone and instead of saying goodbye, they just hang up?
They do that on TV shows, I've noticed.
There's something about goodbye. It's like a ribbon on a present.
Yeah.
So thank you and goodbye, and I hope to talk to you again soon.
Likewise. Till next time.
Yes, sir.
The Paul Leslie Hour is made possible by people like you, listeners, viewers. Please go to thepaulleslie.com/support, and you'll know what to do when you're there. Thank you. Thank you, everyone who contributes. Performance of The Entertainer intro song by John Primorano. And of course, this is your announcer speaking. See you next time on the Paul Leslie Hour.